How we doing, everybody? UFC Thoughts here, and today I'm going to be going over my picks and breakdown for every fight on UFC Austin, Dariush vs. Tsarukyan on December 2nd, 2023. Let's get right into it with the first fight of 12. Start with Veronica Hardy and Jamie Lynn Horth, who are both coming off wins. These ladies are both wrestlers. Veronica Hardy, her last fight was against Juliana Miller. Jamie Lynn Horth, her last win was against Haley Conan. I think this fight's going to be a pretty boring start, if I'm being honest. I feel that it's going to be mostly clinch exchanges against the fence, maybe some takedowns here and there, some possible striking with just ones and twos, feinting the jab. I have a feeling Jamie Lynn Horth is going to win by unanimous decision, 30-27. I just feel that she's better everywhere than Veronica. We move to Wellington Turman versus Jared Gooden in the welterweight division. Let's start with Wellington. This dude is a BJJ ace, dude. He is so damn good on the ground. He will get you in a submission like that, dude. It's insane. He can also craft offensive grappling exchanges on the fence. That's where he likes to thrive. He's not bad on the feet. He throws some decent ones and twos, but he does leave some major openings. But we go to his opponent, Jared Gooden, who has historically struggled against good wrestlers and being on his back. I mean, against Carlston Harris, he was on his back for fucking 9 minutes. That's not good whatsoever. I just feel that Wellington Turman is just going to take advantage of Jared Gooden's shitty wrestling. Wellington Turman, first round submission, probably an RNC. We move to Rodolfo Bellato versus Ihor Pretoria in the light heavyweight division. Let's start with Rodolfo. This dude is a fucking monster. I watched this Contender Series fight, and when I was watching it, I was like, this is a fucking brutal fight style. He pushes people against the fence, beats their body up, beats their head up. He likes to go for takedowns, hold you down, gas you out, which at light heavyweight, that's pretty damn easy. He hits hard. He'll push you against the fence. When you try and shoot for an offensive takedown, he's just going to sprawl and he's just going to beat your fucking head in. He's a monster, dude. And he's facing Ihor Pretoria, who is also a monster. I mean, when he came into the UFC, he was 19-2. He came in on short notice. He has 1 wins against Mauricio Shogun Rua. Of course, he lost his last fight to Carlos Olberg. Ihor's striking is pretty damn good. Ihor can definitely clip Rodolfo, but I think Rodolfo is going to clip Ihor before that can happen. Rodolfo Bellato, first round TKO. We move to Drakkar Klose versus Joe Solecki in the lightweight division, the first of many fights in that division. Let's start with Drakkar. He is a fucking dog, man. Most people remember him from his highlight reel KO loss to fucking Beneil Dariush, who's fighting in the main event. But Drakkar is actually a very good fighter. 7-2 in the UFC. He's got a couple finishes. The only way for Joe Solecki to win this fight is for Drakkar to not be able to defend takedowns, which he will. Drakkar's last fight was against Rafa Garcia, who was one of the best wrestlers right now at lightweight. I'd say that's unranked. He's a pretty decent guy. And he stuffed a lot of his takedowns. And when Rafa finally did get him down, he would fucking wall walk and get back up and get takedowns of his own. Drakkar's striking is crisp. He throws heavy punches. He can get finishes. He has heavy hands, stone hands. Joe Solecki, on the other hand, is a submission specialist. I mean, of his 13 wins, I believe 8 or 9 of them come by submission. He's a fucking animal on the ground. I like Joe Solecki. I like the way he handles himself. He handles himself like a professional. He's pretty entertaining to watch. For a grappler, he's pretty entertaining to watch. He puts his opponents in bad situations. I just struggle to believe that Joe Solecki will be able to get Drakkar in those bad of positions. I'm going to pick Drakkar Klose by TKO in the 3rd round. I feel Drakkar is going to land some good body shots. I feel like his right hand is going to be landing down the pipe, and I don't think Joe Solecki is going to be able to handle it. He's going to give up in round 3. We move to Zachary Reese versus Cody Brundage in the middleweight division. Let's start with Zach. He's coming off the Contender Series with a first-round finish. He didn't look great in there other than the ground attack. He's very slow on the feet, but when he gets to the ground, man, he can fucking put shit together. But the thing is, he's fighting Cody Brundage. I think that's all I need to say. Zachary Reese by first-round submission. We move to Miesha Tate versus Julia Villa in the women's bantamweight division. Let's start with Miesha. You know, who doesn't love Cupcake? You know, she's a veteran. This fight is going to be very interesting because Julia Villa likes to do well on the feet, but she also can partake in activities on the ground. She can go to the ground, but she really struggles off her back. Miesha Tate is going to try everything in her power to get this fight to the ground with her sloppy striking and pressure against the fence. She's going to try and get Julia Villa to the ground, and I think she's going to be able to. This fight's going to be close. Because the thing is, I think they're both going to gas out in round 3. It's going to be 1-1 heading into the third round. I have a feeling Miesha is going to win the first. I think Julia is going to rally in the second. And then the third, when they're both tired, is just going to be fucking WMMA, dude. I think Miesha's going to take it. I think it's going to be 29-28, split decision. Get her in. We move to Punahele Soriano versus Dustin Stolfoots in the middleweight division. Let's start with Puna. He hasn't fought since January, where he got obliterated by my boy. By my fucking boy, Roman Kopylov. Oh my god, what a performance. Puna is a very good wrestler, but he also has power in it. He's a traditional wrestler build, right? He doesn't shoot often, even though he is good on the ground. He prefers to use his heavy hands, but he doesn't throw that much. He's more of a patient guy. But when he does throw, he lands big. Dustin Stoltzfoots, on the other hand, loves to chain takedowns together, hold people down, try and get a finish. He also is very chinny. I mean, he hasn't fought since the Abuspian Magomedov loss. That was where he got fucking wrecked. This fight's very interesting to me because I feel that whoever wins the striking exchanges will also win the grappling, but I don't know who's going to be able to win those. I'm going to go with Punahele Soriano by TKO in round 2. We move to Clay Guida versus Joaquim Silva at lightweight. This fight's very interesting. Yet again, Clay Guida, the veteran, the old man, he's kind of had an on and off streak for a little couple years. Of course, primarily a wrestler, pressure shots on the feet with 1s and 2s, hooks against the fence. Joaquim Silva, heavy punches on the feet, dude. He hits hard as fuck. Also specialty moves like flying knees and bullshit like that. I mean, he can set anyone down. I mean, he almost knocked out Arman Sarukian in his last fight on short notice. This makes me want to pick Joaquim Silva by third round TKO, but I'm actually going to shorten it down to first round KO TKO over Clay Guida. Joaquim Silva, lock it in. We move to Sean Brady versus Kelvin Gastelum at welterweight. Kelvin's moving back down. Let's start with Sean. Of course, Sean is known for his heavy wrestling style, his bad cardio, and shitty striking. Kelvin Gastelum's known for semi-decent striking, semi-decent wrestling, semi-decent cardio, I guess, and a fat body. This fight's very interesting because I wonder if Sean Brady can keep Kelvin down if he does get him down, which I think he'll struggle. I'm picking Kelvin Gastelum by unanimous decision, but I feel that Sean Brady can get it done if he just is able to hold him down and then live through the third round. Going Kelvin, unanimous decision, 29-28. Lock it in. We move to Rob Font versus Davison Figueiredo at bantamweight. Davison is moving up after the Moreno quadrilogy. This fight is very, very interesting. Rob Font's, of course, coming off the Corey Sandhagen wrestle-fuck. Rob Font's boxing is always crisp. His jab is always landing. His straight punches are fucking beautiful. He goes for the body. He's chinny. Davison Figueiredo stands up tall, lands heavy shots. I thought the size difference was going to be a bit more crazy when I heard of this matchup, but it really isn't. Davison looks fucking huge, man. He looks fucking big. He looks like a bantamweight. Of course, he's shorter than Rob and he has a shorter reach, but man, this fight, I think Davison might even be able to get it to the ground and be able to submit Rob Font, but I don't think he's going to be able to do that, so I think he's going to win by unanimous decision, 29-28. I feel Rob might start landing some heavier shots, and then Davison will go for a takedown, because I feel Davison will win round 1 just via like a heavy punch. I don't see Davison knocking out Rob Font. I just don't really see that happening. Rob Font will definitely look fucked up at the end of the fight, of course, because his face bruises easier than fucking bananas. But I just don't see Davison knocking him out, but I do see him winning. We move to the co-main event, Jalen Turner versus Bobby Green. Jalen Turner on short notice made fucking weight. I can't believe it. This fight, again, very interesting. I wonder how the weight cut is going to treat Jalen Turner in this fight against Bobby Green. This fight, I feel, if it happened a little bit ago, would have been an easy pick to pick Jalen Turner, but since Bobby Green is starting to pick up a win streak, man, it's pretty hard. Striking-wise, they're very even, I'd say, other than Jalen Turner having a heavier kick set than Bobby Green. I think Bobby Green is mostly boxing, good head movement. But also, the wrestling and grappling, I feel, leans toward Jalen. On a submission threat standpoint, Bobby Green may has better wrestling, but Jalen Turner can get a submission better. I really feel it's easy to pick Jalen Turner in this fight. I'm picking Jalen Turner by finish. I'm going to go with submission in round 2. I have a feeling he's going to jump guillotine, and he's going to get Bobby Green out of there. We have made it to the main event, Beneil Dariush versus Arman Tsarukyan. This fight is super interesting. I know I've said that word several times throughout this video, but this card is very interesting for a fight night. Beneil and Arman, they both can grapple very well. I mean, Beneil and Arman have both fought Gamrot. I feel that they both beat Gamrot. Of course, Arman has the loss against him, but I feel Beneil beat him in a better fashion. I think Beneil has better striking than Arman. Mostly just due to heavier punches and being able to whip that shit out of there. Arman's striking just isn't good. Not saying that it isn't good, it's just not great for a top-tier lightweight. He relies heavily on his grappling and wrestling. He gets clipped on the feet. That one knockout KO loss of his that came to light recently through Twitter was very funny, where he just like folds. It was his only loss on the regionals. Of course, his only 2 losses in the UFC is a robbery against Gamrot and then a very close contested bout in his debut on short notice against fucking Islam Makhachev. The UFC wants Arman to win this because they have a storyline going into the Islam fight, right? They're looking for people to fight Islam. Beneil, of course, lost to Charles Oliveira. That kind of negates his fucking win here if he does win this. Grappling is a very weird thing because Beneil's grappling defense is insane and his grappling offense is pretty, while boring, pretty good. Arman, on the other hand, loves to throw vicious ground and pound and just try and get the person out of there. He has a good gas tank too, they both do. But I'm a part of Beneil Mafia. Beneil Dariush. Unanimous decision, 49-46. I'm UFC Thoughts, and these have been my picks and breakdown for every fight on UFC Austin, Dariush vs. Tsarukyan on December 2nd, 2023. My confident picks reside with Zachary Reese, Joaquin Silva, and Kelvin Gastelum. My pre-card rating is an 8 out of 10. This card is fucking insane. I know I haven't been uploading recently, and I'm sorry for that, but I'll try and make it up to you guys. I don't know if I'm going to continue the Afterthought series, as I'm kind of just getting hammered with schoolwork, but I'll see you guys after the fights. Peace.